welcome to episode 2 of Trans Topics. Today I am outside of the HIV Alliance and we're going to meet up with Amanda and go over some HIV and AIDS awareness for trans individuals, as well as talk about some syringe and needle safety tips and etiquette. Here we go. What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy Aydian here. This is the second episode of Trans Topic. Welcome. We are at the HIV Alliance in Oregon, and I have Amanda with me. I'm gonna let her do a little introduction for herself.
Thank you. So I'm Amanda McCluskey. I work at HIV Alliance, obviously. I'm our program director here, and I've been working in the field for about 8 years.
Awesome. And thank you for coming on for my new little video series I'm doing. I met up with Amanda at the We Us Ours event when the HIV Alliance came to the Wayward Lamb, and you guys saw when I gave away a bunch of shirts from 0.5cc and stuff. And so, oddly enough, the name of my clothing company, which you're familiar with, is 0.5cc. And so it's kind of funny we're here because, you know, staring at this table of like condoms and like syringes and stuff, and like, you know, one of the biggest ones, just like 1cc, all these 5cc's everywhere. So that's kind of funny. But yeah, I wanted to kind of come into the HIV Alliance today and just talk about kind of two things. I want to talk a little bit about like HIV and, you know, awareness in the trans community, and a little bit also just about, just because I'm a trans man and some trans people do decide to go on hormone replacement therapy, which would bring in our syringes and our needle safety and stuff like that. So we'll talk a little bit about that too. Let's just dive right into it. One of my biggest first questions for, you know, HIV awareness and stuff in the trans community, like, who would you say statistically is, you know, the most at risk in the transgender community?
I would say the most at-risk group in the trans community is trans women. So with the caveat that there's not a lot of research around HIV and trans people, but we do know that HIV disproportionately affects trans women. So about 20% of trans women in the United States are living with HIV. So
you don't have too many statistics, but based on the small that you do, you already know that 20% of trans women in the U.S. are living with HIV. Okay,
that's correct.
That's I feel like already a high number.
It is a high number. It is a high number. It's a disproportionately affected group, and it's a group that you know, we know has a difficult time in some cases accessing medical care and accessing resources. There's a variety of reasons why this population has a higher prevalence of HIV. The language around that is not great for trans people, because really what we're talking about are people who have penises who are having sex with people who have penises, but that's not the way that we sort of talk about it in the field. So here we've been doing a lot of work on how can we be more culturally competent around trans issues, and so sort of talking about our language is one of those. You know, there are trans men who have sex with men, and especially if the men they're having sex with are having sex with men, or the people who have penises that they're having sex with, if they're having sex with people with penises, then they're at higher risk for getting HIV if they're having unprotected sex. And so that's sort of the key, is that you know, if you're having protected sex, then there's almost no risk. So use your condoms.
Use your condoms, people. You know, they're here. They're here. We have free condoms. Free condoms all the time. So, and I know condoms are not everybody's favorite. Yeah. You know, some people really do not like condoms for a variety of reasons. But PrEP is now a huge thing. So PrEP is pre-exposure prophylaxis. So that's people who are HIV negative taking Truvada, which is an HIV antiretroviral medication. And that's been proven to be very effective. So, great. They recommend that you use PrEP in conjunction with condoms, but I do know that folks take PrEP and also have unprotected sex, and it still provides protection. Yeah, because we're going to be realistic, right? I mean, we're not just going to walk in and be like, everyone use a condom and all your problems will be solved, right? Because we're not going to say that this is going to 100% prevent HIV or any other type of STI. I think it's really great that like, you know, the HIV here Alliance is like really trying to push in some vocals that will reach more trans men and more trans women, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so the CDC recommends that everyone get tested at least once in their lifetime, regardless of what your risk is. And then if you're low risk, so like basically people who have vaginas who are having sex with people who have vaginas, that's very low risk. If you are sharing needles though, then that's high risk, and so that's one of the reasons why we started doing our needle exchange at the We Us Ours event every month at the end of the month, is just to make sure that in our trans community, no one has to share needles to
Yeah.
get the meds that they need.
But I also think it's interesting because I myself, not that I've shared needles, but I've run out of needles. And I've Googled, can I use a needle again? Because it's on myself, right? Because I'm thinking, okay, well, I know that I'm HIV clear, I don't have any STIs, like, can I reuse a needle? But I also learned, like, that's really dangerous too.
Right, you can put yourself at risk for getting abscesses by doing that, because you're introducing bacteria into your system. So, like, if you're using one of these needles that's packaged and it's sterile, you're fine. But if you're reusing it, it's no longer sterile, it has bacteria on it, and you can get yourself a nasty infection.
So I know that, like, this kind of new, like, trying to go out there for the trans community, like, provide, I'm going to pick up, these actually are my favorites because I do 0.5 cc. I'm going to pick up some of these 1 cc little syringes, and I see you have, like, different needle sizes. We have, like, 1.5, we have 1 inches. I also prefer the 1 inch, so that's really cool, but I know some people who prefer, like, 1.5s.
Yeah.
That's really awesome. And so what have you found, just like kind of going to these events, giving out syringes and stuff, like what has been the response from the trans community that comes over and sees that you guys are not only just trying to be, inclusive with your HIV, language, and also just like who we're gonna reach out to and stuff to educate, but also with like, showing that like, you guys have syringes and you care about like needle sharing and just the health that comes with using needles,
right? Yeah, so it's been a great experience for us actually. Super well received, and we've served the LGBT community in HIV work for a long time, and so really having a little extra focus on the T part of that recently has been great. So one of the things that's been really interesting about doing needle exchange for this community is the interest in the safer sex materials. So we found some very good materials that focus on body parts and not necessarily, men and women doing this or that.
Oh, okay.
So it's all about if you're putting a penis here, what's your risk? If you're putting this into your vagina, what's the risk?
I really like that concept. I really like that concept.
It's really nice. It's very helpful.
Yeah, especially because we all, I think a lot of people know that trans people, our anatomy can have different names, right? But I think there's something about opening up like a medical pamphlet or like a pamphlet like given from like the HIV Alliance that said like the word penis or the word vagina or I guess there's no other word for butt, but anus,
anus. Yeah, anus.
We all have the same anus, right? So like that's really cool because I feel like it'd be easier for me to like try to hush down my dysphoria and look at the imagery and look at the wording and really just put, is this what I'm working with or is this what I'm working with? What's going in or what's not? You know what I mean? What's going where? I think that's really cool. I've never seen one of those before. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. We've been bringing them to the exchange and it seems to be really, really well received. We're also starting a behavioral health program, and just specific to LGBT communities, and a big part of that is serving the trans community. So we have a community health worker who's going to be working with our therapist.
Awesome.
And our therapist and our community health worker have been doing a lot of training and gathering information around how to help trans people get through the process of doing a medical transition. And our program is specifically serving LGBT people in Lane County who have Oregon Health Plan. So that's Oregon's Medicaid system. And so that system comes with its own rules and guidelines around transitioning. So if our staff can spend the time to understand that process, then they can help folks get through that process easier and faster. So that's one of the things that we're working on right now too.
That's really cool. Awesome.
Yeah, it's an exciting time to be working here. I'm very excited about lots of our programs. I'm excited about our trans needle exchange, our behavioral health program. PrEP is really exciting, and today is National Transgender HIV Testing Day.
There we go. What a better day. What a better day. I'm going to we'll take a thumbnail and I'll post that today on my Instagram and I'll make sure everyone gets tested.
Great. So we offer testing. We test trans people. We test men who have sex with men, people who inject drugs, partners of people living with HIV, and people who do sex work. So
nice.
Free. So
that's
come get tested.
Awesome. That is so cool. I didn't know that was today. So that's awesome.
My hope is that there is a lot more talk around sex these days, and There's a lot more talk around trans people and STIs and HIV and all of that. My hope is that means that if we're all talking about it more, that we're negotiating things better. Like maybe we're negotiating safer sex better, and we're able to feel empowered to do that. You know, and that's definitely my hope for the trans community, that people feel like they can be empowered to make the choices about their bodies that they want to make.
Yeah, no, that falls right in line with, you know, everything that I think is trying to happen with this, like, trans movement, and just kind of reminding people that our bodies are our bodies, and, you know, we can do what we please with them, and they don't have to align up to anything. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing in here that says this is a woman. There's no poster board behind us that says this is a woman and this is a man. You know what I mean? It's really just anatomy, and I think when we can start learning that anatomy and the biologicalness of everything isn't always the actual fluidity of living, right? I think things can really change for the better, and people will be kicked out of their boxes. You know what I mean?
Totally.
So yeah, this was really awesome. Thank you for coming, Amanda. It was awesome. Definitely going to try to, you know, hook up with the HIV Alliance. I know they do the Pride here in Oregon and stuff, so we're going to try to hook up with them, and yeah, we'll keep supporting you, and whatever, you know, if you ever want us to shout out, or if you do an event, we'd love to come down. You know what I mean? Make another episode, something like that.
That'd be great. And we always have more information on our website, so we're hivalliance.org. And if you want to make a donation, you can. And you can find out more about all of the services that we offer in Oregon.
Awesome. I'll put a blurb here, and then I'll put a link below where you can go make a donation. Thanks again. It was a pleasure. And yeah, stay tuned for the next episode, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace. There we go. We'll run it, and I'll let you know. We'll do like claps and stuff too. So first I'll do a little intro, and I'm just going to introduce them to the video, introduce you to you, and then you're just going to say who you are and like what you do in life. There you go. Like trying to help you out, you know?
No, I appreciate it. All the help I can get.
No, we're good. Ready?
Yeah.
Okay. And just remember, if you do decide to look at the camera, you feel free. Just remember the camera's not the top. Because I tend to look at the top a lot. And then people are like, what are you looking at? And I'm like, I'm looking at myself.
Do you suggest not looking at the camera?
I don't know, whatever you want. I mean, I'll make reference back, but it will probably mostly just be a conversation between the two of us.
Okay, cool.